But
divine release, divine release, divine release. I did a physical action. I burped. So I paired it with an intent. With some people, well, with the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving Earth refer to as prayer. Some of our lower self demons, some of our lower self ways can only be transmuted through fasting, but because you'll be if you want to work on a specific issue, the intent for this fast is to stop smoking. That is my intention for this fast. So all the energy gets, because energy can only be, one of the ways is directed. Energy is directed somewhere, right? So if you want all the energy to go towards that, then that's what the intent would be. Yeah, I'm doing this fast. Yeah, I'm kind of recommending, like, this is 2026, what, February now. So, I'm really recommending, I mean, I say it out loud because, you know, I'm doing these videos, but I don't really recommend saying things out loud as far as your intent, because we're in a new age. The frequency is higher on this planet. That means, like, you know, the invisible parts, the atomic structure, all of that, it's moving like super fast, to where, you know, things just also on the polarity, they're also moving slower. So it's like, no, that just really means to me that the spiritual realm, the energy realm is more it's closer to everything, like getting to a dimension in your thought, because, like, if you're happy, happiness is a dimension, that is a specific frequency. When you're happy, you're vibrating at a specific frequency, so you're in a different dimension. I would say, you know, you just basically have the opportunity to, at a faster rate, reach certain states of consciousness. Also, the spiritual realm is able to influence you much more. Things like fear, and like, you are projecting yourself into those dimensions by having that frequency. And that frequency is a lot closer now, because we are, and again on the polarity as well, because we are in this new age where this what time speed, everything's moving at a faster rate. Everything's just, it's like, you know, I'm trying to think of how to describe this, like the buzzing. If you've seen something like just buzzing, it's moving so fast, it's buzzing. We're moving more towards that time, where things are, you know, more instant, where you can connect to a dimension. You can go to it because you're traveling there. You're just traveling in this body. But happiness is a dimension beyond the physical plane. So you will have to travel there through your consciousness. So you would be at that vibration for that time that you're experiencing the happiness. And that's really the bigger picture in that is that's basically, you know, what the law of attraction is about. It's like staying in that state, that vibratory state, staying in that vibratory state. Can you do that during difficult times? In opposition, can you change the form on the opposite side? Can you change the form of, for example, suffering? Can you change that into a positive state of consciousness? Because every simulation or situation, you cannot stay. You're not necessarily going to be in a positive frequency. That's what trial and tribulation is about, the great tribulation. That's coming. Like where there is nothing to put you in a positive vibratory state. Then the option would be to transform the negative polarity that one is experiencing into a opposite positive vibratory state. So those are pretty much the dual options for this age, because, you know, it's like, oh well, what I do in negative simulations, I just merely you know, things like pet, like the dog videos, the pet videos, you know, where it's like you gotta laugh, you can't help but laugh. They do some of the funniest things. Continually watching those. That's why, like, when talking about like attracts like in the law of cause and effect, it's like what if I want to just sit all day and watch funny videos? But I have, like I'm saying, this is just an example of what the very elect is going to be going through, because I'm pretty sure that many, like, having given their 9 to 5 jobs up, or their studies to build up someone else's reality, because, well, unless they're gonna be like business owners, but mainly everything else is tailored to building up some corporation, empire, somebody else's empire reality. So if I want to sit down all day and watch funny videos with, where I have the affirmations in my vicinity, I can see them or hear them, and to me that's work, because it takes a lot of work to stay positive in such a world that was created so negatively. It's coming from the negative polarity as an extreme, because my polarity is extreme. That's why they call people bipolar. These are just advanced souls that have more connection to, access to operate in both polarities, up and down, or they just, drastically change. Because those are two extreme. It's extreme polarity. It's extreme going from the negative to the positive. That took my vessel 20 years. Could be plus. I'm talking about going through trial and tribulation after trial and tribulation, back to back to back. Every simulation being was trial and tribulation. So I was constantly having to transmute my negative polarity that was manifesting in my external reality. So it was like rug get ripped out from you, time again. So now that's, if you think to the script, that's why Yahushua said, yeah, I did these things, but y'all are going to do much greater things, because the time is instant now. A person can go from the negative to the positive polarity in a day. It could be it's an instant, just like an instant transformation. Because that came to my mind, if you remember in the script, the basic instructions before leaving Earth, Saul went from Saul to Paul, but then I believe that said something about overnight. Damn. It was oh, you are walking? You gotta walk. It's a walk-in now. I mean, another part of, you're just adding to your consciousness. Parts that you lost through, whether it be that you lost through incarnating, whether you lost through, shock. Imagine when you're shocked, the trauma. And it's like, oh, a part of me left, and then we're getting those parts back. And you know, like the chosen for the age of Aquarius, chosen by the positive polarity from, I'm talking about from, you know, all dimensions are involved in what vessel is chosen for this new age. Because, I mean, you saw all the vessels that were chosen for, they were chose to influence that age, that I believe it was called the Age of Pisces. I believe it was the Age of Pisces. So they were chosen to create really the age through programming, like television programming, right? Like entertainment. You know, everywhere you go, you're seeing signs and symbols, right? From corporations, which they start from a thought, concept, an entity from another dimension that what the great God Allah describes as that's, man, I know a lot of people is like thinking about me right now, so I'll be forgetting stuff. Got a lot of eyes and thoughts on me. That's why I really put on a show for everybody, because I know every time I'm out, I literally feel you motherfuckers. Even though you try to use that, you know, I guess it's like a masking technology. Or they'll give the gang stalkers, you know, they could be anybody, plain clothes, anybody. They give them like numbing drugs so they can stay in my presence long enough. And like basically yeah, they'll give them like they'll take drugs, like I don't know if they're numbing agents or what, but just so they can keep that subject around my vessel to, you know, like project their thoughts and use the black magic. They're doing it with their eyes. They do have those spy kids. They be sicking them spy kids after me and shit. To destabilize, because you know, any property that you have, they have people follow you and watch you to steal your property. You know how many valuable treasures they've stolen? They stole my my infinity stone. I was the one, and I don't know how many. I assume that all of the chosen would. I don't know if they'll find an infinity stone. They may, but that infinity stones that's for real. And I found it. We found it, and they stole it under a false. Well, the great God called it kidnapping. A kidnapping for being at a tent at a stadium, because I did a clearing, because divine court hearing, K-pop divine court hearing, divine transfer, and Divine Court Hearing, Divine Transfer against, what's it? The Orlando, the peace officers, the public servants, sworn in peace officers, impersonating police, as well, Divine Court Hearing and Divine Transfer. I mean, I already did this stuff, but I am putting it on the record because, again, these are the things that we have to do as the very elect, the chosen of this new age of Aquarius. The last age ended. I don't know when. I don't know what year it ended. I really don't. But I gotta put this on a record because these beings have to use strategies to activate divine justice. So, yeah, man, I went back in time. Divine Court Hearing and Divine Transfer. And then I brought divine justice into the now, into that situation. And I completely let it go. Like, every time I got pissed off thinking about it, because the Orlando PD, they set me up to steal my time stone, my infinity stone, because I did a clearing on the land right after the K-pop concert. That's why I said about the Divine Court Hearing and stuff like that, because they're connected to this court hearing. I did a clearing on the land for my ancestors, because think about if you're upstairs in the basement, if you're downstairs in the basement, and a whole family is stomping on, you can hear them just walking around and stomping and stuff like that, right? Well, that's how my ancestors said they feel. They don't get to get rest. The ones that I haven't crossed over into the higher dimensions. Like, that's how it is. It's like that thumping, all that noise, and the satanic imagery and audio, and it's just energy harvesting, soul harvesting event, and it's adding to the suffering of my ancestors. So I went down there, and when everybody cleared out, I did the clearing. And I stayed out there all night. So there was a white tent. It was not blocked off. It didn't have no metal gates. They put a metal gate up after they let me out of jail. But it didn't say nothing about no trespassing. This is private property. You can't be here. They had the tent from the concert, and it was nothing even in the tent. It was like not even. It wasn't a tent that you had to open. It was just like it was like a top part tart, and then I don't even know if it had the sides on the tent, but it wasn't something you had to break into. It was just open. It didn't say keep out. It didn't say no trespassing, nothing. It wasn't closed. It was just open, like how they have it. I don't know how they had it at that concert, the last K-pop. Well, I don't know, because they could have had another one, but the last concert from K-pop, however it was set up, that white tent, because they get imaging and satellite imaging, like the street Google view. So one would be able to go back into that time and probably get some type of, visual of that night. I know the great God recorded everything. So, but anyway, nonetheless, there was no keep out fines, no trespassing, no, you cannot be in this vicinity, none of that. So I stayed there all night. I was doing the clearing all night, and it's like, it's light outside, but it's like 7 a.m. And I'm like laying down and like, I was like in like a deep meditation, deep thought, deep meditation, just closing everything down, closing everything out. Listen, this is a divine release. A lot of negativity is coming up behind this because I experienced this. So it's a divine release for the divinely intended, multi-dimensionally. But yeah, it's light, so I'm closing it out. And I had a ride, so they kept all my stuff in their car, so I didn't have none of my stuff. All I had was like one of those foil grocery bags, and I had my little stool, and I had a white towel and my backpack. That's it. I didn't have, like, 'cause normally I travel with my reclining chair, my beach chair. Cause when you do ancestral work, listen, it takes so much, that transmutation process. I don't have to go and pay somebody to do past life regression for me, or self-hypnosis. I don't have to pay somebody, but it's still, it's either way, whatever people call it, if they call it past life regression, or if they call it parallel life regression, since everything is operating simultaneously. But I don't have to do that. The great God does that with me, but I have to be like in a seating reclining position. Like I have to be relaxed. I got to be in a meditative state to go in these trances. And it's called soul retrieval work, and basically it's parts being removed from me, the negative parts that my ancestors experienced. That's removed from me during these sessions, and then I get the divine order restored, like what was actually intended. And so I gotta be like either sitting down, laying, or like relaxed. And then sometimes you just fall asleep and wake up, and then you wake up as you have more of your consciousness that left from trauma. It's restored back to you, and you may know more. You may, like whatever it is, you getting your abilities back. So this motherfucker like hops out on me, and how did he say I was asleep when I was sitting up? Nobody had to wake me up like when I was fully awake, like when he walked up on me. So how was I kidnapped for sleeping? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, where are the tapes at, the recordings at from this event? So yeah, man, he walked up on me. I told him straight up, like, I was scared because I had been getting a warning that, the court was plotting on me. They don't like me on the businesses. They don't like me. Yeah, they be messing with my throat chakra and all that shit. But yeah, they don't like me on business property because, for one, I resurrect too many of my ancestors, and we know because of universal law of one that it actually shifts the all, because it's removing trauma from the collective consciousness. That memory was recorded in Earth's record. So yeah, man, I was like, oh, yo, I knew this motherfucker was about to do some illegal shit. I just felt it. And why? He was like, grilling me and shit like that. And I tell him, like, look, I'm here for religious reasons, man. Like, and something happened where he got called away. He was like, because he told me I was being detained. I didn't know what that meant. See, that's why the great God said, my people perish for their lack of knowledge, because I didn't know what that meant. Because I don't be doing like shit where I'm gonna end up in somebody's jail. I be about my Father's business all of the time. But whatchamacallit, this he's grilling me or whatever, and shit, he had said something about you're being detained, and then he got a call. He's like, oh, it's your lucky day. Motherfucker drives off. I stay because I'm like, I'm not letting these motherfuckers scare me off of no bullshit. Like this individual can't show me no trespassing. You can't write me I don't know if they have tickets for trespassing. That sounds like some New World Order shit though. But yeah, so he's like, I stayed because I'm like, I'm not letting these motherfuckers stop me from doing what I need to do. But my ancestors, forget about my ancestors, for the great God. Universal Allah, this is Universal Allah's age, back on the earth, meaning the earth is being restored back to its divine consciousness. Right? It's divine order. So all trauma, all fear is blocking the great God. It's blocking peace on earth. Let me just say it like that. It's blocking love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice on earth. On this earth. It's blocking it. So vessels like myself we have to do this deep, intense restructuring of the DNA, which it happens during these soul retrieval sessions. And that's all I was there doing. And it was just a setup, because the great God was warning me like that the court is plotting on me and trying to set me up, but I didn't know how it was going to happen, because these are tests. Oh, well, if you're a prophet of the great God Allah, then why didn't you no. Man, I ain't no motherfucking psychic. I don't get my powers from Satan. The great God is not going to allow me to know everything and see everything, because through that experience, I had to transmute that to positive. I wrote out all these like decrees on just any institution that could have been involved in it, in that kidnapping. And I learned how to do that. I got on the record. I got to record, because my eyes record. I don't record with artificial like cameras and spy devices and shit like the court be doing on me and shit, my eyes are recorders, because your eyes they are the windows to your soul. That's how your soul sees life. And yeah, so just like how the book says, the angels of Allah record every thought, word, and deed pertaining to the Allah's book of the registry, the record of life, right? So all that's recorded by angels. So being an angel of Allah, who I guard the holy cities. I worship by the feet of my Father, like of the Father, all day, all night. That's in that station. Now I'm here, right? This part of me is here, right? This little slither fraction of who I truly am, my consciousness, my divine consciousness, how many soul, how my soul has evolved, how many soul evolutions I have, like all of that. You know, I'm here, boom, I'm here we here judgment time. This is judgment time on the earth. Close out an age, you close out an era of a time, you close out an eon, right? You close it out. So that record has to be closed. Like, you know how they say, would you like to settle your debt? Would you like to settle? This is the time to settle debts. This is the timeline to settle debts. You know, so that it can be neutralized, balanced, and so I was saying something about doing the I don't have to go to the past life regressionist. I don't have to do that with a human. I do that. The great God does that with me. I do have to see, like, you know, I go back in time like it's a movie and see what happened to the ancestors. Like, see, you know, just watch it, and you know, it triggers that awful feeling, like that, like I'm feeling it like it's myself, and it comes up in my vessel, and then instantaneously that negative energy it's transformed into whether it goes back to 0 point neutrality, or whether it transfers to the negative polarity, right, or transfers to the positive polarity, or whatever way is divinely intended. Because sometimes, you know, we got like dyslexia and shit. I don't be knowing how to say shit, so like I'll have to have my request that my you know, whatever, be subject to divine reformation, or like amendments, and or revocation, or like restoration, things like that, because I was taught backwards, right? I come from the divine dimensions, but I was taught a satanic way. My default programming from 0 to 7, 8, could be much longer than that, and so, you know, I just request that everything be under divine order, because the only judge is the great God, universal Allah. I can't do anything of my own self, and neither can anybody else. I mean, they've been trying to, you know, off me for like, man, it seems like for so long. I mean, I'm sure, you know, this probably spans lifetimes. What I'm saying, in this incarnation, they have been trying to off me before I could get to this degree of wisdom. Because I would not say knowledge, I would say wisdom. Because the only way you can have wisdom is if you have like real time experience, like real experience. Like a lot of people are learning from people who only have developed their knowledge body. They haven't developed their heart space, so they use their knowledge for evil, or they're just, you know, wicked, doing wicked shit. That's why Allah, the great God Allah said this, the purging, you know, 20 years and I don't know how long of purging, bringing up the most intense fears, like back to back to back to back to back. You know, that memory got to come up from my cells and my many different memory spaces. So, and then you got to figure out how to get out of that shit. Like, and you know, like the time that they, because when you're a targeted individual, you got to understand, mainly everybody in your reality is planted there and by a specific institution, person, or place, because they have to gather intel on the heir to throne a new earth. It's the King Herod story. It's the King Herod story. And we know King Herod, that was a one-person government, but it was still a government, right? King Herod was like, yo, come here. Come here, Skull and Bones or Freemasons, come here. I don't know what the highest of their satanic orders are, but
Black Cube programming break free.
That's all I do is just listen to, you know. But like I said, man, they've been. Oh, about that time they put that op. Now I'll get into that story. I'll get into that story another time, because you know, monitoring spirits, they are a real thing. They showed you that in the movie Fallen. That was just disclosure of, you know, they have the ability to summon these high-level entities, which the great God calls spiritual wickedness in higher dimensions. Are there polarities in every dimension, or most dimensions? So they'll summon these high-level entities, and they get paid in blood. The blood of a sacrifice has to be a pure sacrifice, an innocent sacrifice. That's why we're hearing so much about the child sacrificing, because that was their practice. Like, I believe that what Satan in the Bible was like, that was talking about bring your child as a sacrifice. Like, I don't know. But anyway. What was I saying?